Alright, John, I'm going to ignore the first minute of your video due to the fact that it was nothing but a whining session. So I'm just going to go on to the substance of what you said. To maybe refamiliarize yourself, or maybe put back in perspective. Put it on a wall, plaque it. I want all my free trade pals who reference Adam Smith, I want them to put on a plaque, I want them to put those 4 exceptions. That's what they ought to do. Put up those big exceptions that Adam Smith gave. Okay. Now, let's go through real quick these 4, and I think that these are pertinent, because I think once you understand the 4, and then you start thinking about what I've been advocating, you'll see I'm not much different here. The first, okay, would be when some particular sort of industry is necessary for the defense of the country. Okay. Now, he says that this endeavors to give the monopoly of trade of their own country, in some cases by absolute prohibitions, and in others by heavy burdens upon the shipping of foreign countries. So then you've got the second case, is what he said in the second case, in which it will be generally advantageous to lay some burden upon foreign imports for the encouragement of domestic industry. Wow. Okay, there's 2 other occasions. Some foreign nation may restrain by high duties or prohibitions the importation of some of our manufactures into their countries. Revenge in this case naturally dictates retaliation, and that we should impose the like duties and prohibitions upon the importation of some or all of their manufacturing into ours. He said there may also be good policy in relations of this kind when there is a probability that they will procure the repeal of high duties or prohibitions complained of. The recovery of a great foreign market will generally more than compensate the transitory inconveniency of paying dearer during a short time of some sorts of goods. I think lastly was this one. Humanity may require that the freedom of trade should be restored only by slow gradations and with a good deal of reserve and circumspection. Were those high duties and prohibitions taken away all at once, cheaper foreign goods of the same kind might be poured so fast into the home market as to deprive all at once many thousands of our people of their ordinary employment and means of subsistence. So, I mean, here we have Adam Smith. I mean, you'd think, listening to that, you would think that you're listening to me. you would think you're listening to something I'm saying, because, well, that is something that I've been saying. These are the conditions that I've been talking about, and they just so happen to be the conditions of Adam Smith. So if you want to cherry pick Adam Smith, that's perfectly fine. You can go and do that, but at least be honest with everybody and admit that you're a cherry picker, and don't go around acting like people such as I would treat Adam Smith with disdain. So you don't agree with my take on Thomas Jefferson. My take on Thomas Jefferson, insofar as the video was concerned and this entire discussion is concerned, is nothing more than this, is that he was a dyed-in-the-wool agrarian, through and through. He was a distributist. He believed in equitable distribution of land into as many hands as humanly possible, because he understood not only the need for private property and small land ownership, but its relation to independence and sovereignty, etc. He supported small wards, these communities, small community wards. He supported that. And while supporting free trade and admitting that he supported free trade at one point in his life, he wrote later in life that he had rejected the idea of free trade. And I've actually got his remarks here. He wrote a letter in 1815 to French economist Jean-Baptiste Say, and he said this. He said that protectionism was a guarantee to America's independence. This is what he said. The prohibiting duties we lay on all articles of foreign manufacture with prudence requires us to establish at home, with the patriotic determination of every good citizen, to use no foreign article which can be made within ourselves, without regard to difference of price, secures us against the relapse into foreign dependency. Man, that sounds a lot like what I'm saying. Then you have here, you have Jefferson writing to Benjamin Austin in 1816, and here's what he says. He who is now against domestic manufacture must be for reducing us either to dependence on that foreign nation, or to be clothed in skins and to live like wild beasts in dens and caverns. I am not one of these. Experience has now taught me that manufactures are now as necessary to our independence as to our comfort. And if those who quote me as of a different opinion will keep pace with me in purchasing nothing foreign where an equivalent of domestic fabric can be obtained, without regard to difference in price, it will not be our fault if we do not soon have a supply at home equal to our demand, and wrest that weapons of distress from the hands which has wielded it. There you go, Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson. So, you know, you can say that I misrepresent Thomas Jefferson. I quoted the guy. Okay, first things, really simple. I'm a presuppositionalist. This should be evident from my religious videos, but if one understands presuppositionalism, they would realize that when we're talking about that, it really is dealing with a worldview. It's a world and life view, and a world and life view would include social issues, economic issues, cultural issues, all these different issues. So I would be, as a presuppositionalist, I am bound to the revealed religion of Catholicism as my ultimate authority and my starting point. And the contention here, the reason why I would say it would be binding, is the impossibility of the contrary. It's the transcendental argument. It's the same argument that's used for anything. If it's used against atheists, and you prove that that worldview is the only worldview that makes sense, then it's the entire enchilada. You're not dealing with piecemeal argumentation any longer. And if it's the whole enchilada, then that includes economics and culture. So what that would say then, your worldview, whatever that may be, what it would say on matters of morals and on matters of the common good, etc., and individual liberty, rights, the concept of nations, the sphere of authorities, and all these different things, how they relate to one another and may overlap in various areas, that would be ultimately why you believe it to be binding on other people. So, yeah, there it is, pure and simple, the revealed religion of Catholicism, by and large. And I argue it from the impossibility of the contrary. You know, anything we do, any limitation we have at all on anything is some degree of coercion. The issue, I mean, I don't know if you really want to make the issue that of, is coercion legitimate or is coercion not legitimate? The question is, you know, why do you think that coercion is only legitimate in regards to law, but somehow economics is to be completely autonomous? There's a value for making here. I think there's a value for this national identity. And you know, you kind of mockingly, you know, drive me back down to why wouldn't I just make all this stuff on my own, or my neighbors immediately next door? And the reason why is because, for better or for worse, we're part of a federation here. We really are. We decided constitutionally to become part of this federation where we would come together, a union, where we would come together for the common good of this union, would understand that, yes, there's a diversity within each state, and even within each region, and even within each local town, but yet at the same time, we should have a fraternal relationship with those of our own nation. Now, that doesn't mean that we should hate other countries, or that we should completely ignore other countries, or the desire or need of their countries to trade with ours. What it does say, though, is that we should, like Jefferson said, have this desire for independence that understands the necessity. That understands the necessity not only morally, but economically, of you know, trading and working with those we are close with.